Hello guys and welcome back to Starting Out Solitary. My name's Amanda and I am subbing for Terra Incognita. Today is Monday and our topic for this week is symbols. Okay, the topic of symbols is very broad, very big, and I will not be able to cover every single thing I would want to talk about symbols and stuff. So I broke it down into amulets and talismans and sigil making, I think. But to start off with, I just want to say this book, The Magician's Table by Alan Richardson, is a very good book for not only correspondences, but symbols as well, because they have very beautiful, detailed pictures of the symbols and a whole bunch of other stuff. It's a whole book of tables. So it talks about the Kabbalah, talks about, Celtic and Egyptian magic, Ogams, runes, the Futharth, the new and old, talks about Futhor, talks about the planetary symbols and colors and the zodiacs. Yeah, this book got a lot in it. And I'm very grateful to have it because it has helped me with sigil making. It's helped me with correspondences for magic workings and stuff like that. So it's a very good book to have, I think. Okay, so I'm going to show you this I'm going to call it a talisman. I think it might be an amulet. I don't know which one's which yet. But this talisman I made for my husband way back when we were dating. So I can remember this day crystal clear. I literally walked up to this kiosk at the Minnesota Renaissance back in my home state. And I went there for a purpose because I wanted to get my husband something before he left for basic and AIT. So when I got there was a whole bunch of symbols, whole bunch of charts and stuff. And the only ones that really resonated with me was the zodiac signs, because I wasn't far enough in my path where I was looking up symbols and stuff like that, or to know these symbols, or for these symbols to have meaning to me. So the only ones that resonated with me were my zodiac sign and his zodiac sign, because those were the only two I really knew at the time. So here's mine, the little arrow, and then his, which is Leo. So Sagittarius and Leo. I put my symbol on there as a reminder to him that I loved him and I was going to be at home waiting for him when he got back from basic and AIT or wherever he was going to go. Well, this time it was basic and AIT, but each time he goes somewhere like deployment or on a big trip, I always re-hand this to him and be like, hey, remember me, kind of thing. So it was to remind him that I loved him. I'm always going to be home waiting for him and how much I loved him. That's pretty much what my symbol was on there for. And then him to remind himself that he was receiving the love and stuff like that. So this has a lot of intent behind it. Even though I wasn't the one that crafted it because someone else crafted it for me, I just picked out the symbols. But I had so much intent, so much purpose for this little coin because it was going to be the gift. Because my husband, I can tell you, is like the worst person to shop for because he doesn't need a whole bunch of stuff. And all the stuff that he does want, he already has, kind of thing. So I made this, and I remember the week before I gave it to him, I walked around the whole entire house saying that I wanted him to come back to me, like, so he didn't find another girlfriend while he was down there. I don't think they even leave base when they're in basic and IT, but I didn't want him to find another girlfriend. I wanted him to come home to me. I just wanted him to remember that I loved him and everything was going to be okay, because being long distance is a very stressful time on people's relationships, especially being 17, 18 years old at the time. So that is one way. That one is a very personal way, but that is one way to use symbols in your life or magical life. Another way you can do it would be sigils. Sigils, the basic explanation to it would be a symbol with intent behind it is probably the simplest way you can put it. And also, I'm looking at my book of shadows because I have it all written down. But I put how they work is your subconscious, or they use your subconscious to outwardly manifest results of intent. So your subconscious has an intent, you make the sigil, kind of voila. But most sites you read will say that you have to activate, even though you made the symbol, you have to activate it. And they say to activate this symbol or the sigil, you have to do something with high adrenaline or high fiery passion is how I'm going to word that. But something with high adrenaline. And then you're supposed to, when you're having this adrenaline rush, you're supposed to think of the symbol. So let's say I'm going to go on a run. I need a symbol for protection later. So made the sigil, whatever, had it where I needed it. I'm going to go on a run now to activate this thing. And I have to think about the symbol in my head. Go on this run. And after I'm done the run, forget about it. Or I can remember it. It's kind of controversial. So I honestly just remember my symbols because I usually just use the symbol over again. Like I use my Sagittarius sign for protection a lot. So protection on the amulet, protection on the back of my pentacle that I have as an altar tile, and then I also have it on my mortar and pestle. So how you make one kind of depends. Like, sorry, I keep looking down, but I have a huge list out of my book of shadows of everything I could possibly tell you that I learned about sigils. But there's many different ways. Some people say you can't use vowels. Some people say you can use vowels. Some people say you have to use like the Theban or Futhark to write sigils in. I kind of do it either way. I like the Theban alphabet because it's pretty. It looks a lot better when you actually form the sigil. I usually have to look up the Theban alphabet because I cannot remember all the loop-de-loops and swishy-swashies that go with it. But, you can use the Futhark. You kind of just have to combine it. But pretty much how you go about it is you have to write a sentence or a phrase or one word. Kind of depends on what you want. But my tip for you guys is to write it like you have it. So don't say like I want or I need like I need happiness or I want happiness. So write it down like you have it. So easiest point, I have happiness. I wrote down here. And then what you're supposed to do is go through it and mark out all the vowels. So I'm going to do that real quick for you guys. So you mark out all the vowels. And then you go back and then you mark out all the duplicates in here. Okay, so the last letters I have, which this one is really easy, would be a V and where's the other letter? And an N. Okay, so sorry this is backwards, but so you have a V and an N, and then you'd have to combine it in some format. So I'm just going to do a really quick one and make it really big for you guys, or as big as I think it needs to be. Okay, so that's the easiest way to combine V and N. So V is right here, and then N would be going across it. If you could see it. Okay, so this would be my symbol for happiness. And say I need it in a love sachet or happiness, or to promote happiness or peace or whatever. So let's say I take a candle. I can inscribe this onto the candle and let the candle burn down. I can also write it on a piece of paper or cut this out and burn it, and then sweep up all the ashes and blow it into the air. There's some air magic for you guys. Blow it in the air to give it to the universe and say, this is my intent, this is what I want. Or I can put it in like a sachet and seal it up with wax and whatever. So that's the easiest way. Also, you'd have to charge this. I don't like go with the whole must do running or must do a high adrenaline activity to charge them. I usually just sit and meditate with them, or I think about them, or I sit there and like just hold the symbol and I put my intent into it. And when I can feel the heat radiating off of it, that's when I know I have the energy. And some days I'll make this like 3 to 9 days before. Those are just my lucky numbers. So 3 to 9 days before, I'll sit there and every single day I'll hold it before I actually use it. Sometimes if it's really quick and I just like need it off the bat, I'll just sit for 3 minutes or 9 minutes putting my intent into it and saying what I want out of it, even though I've written out a whole dealio about it. But that is literally how you make a sigil, or one of the ways to make a sigil, amulets, and etc. So if you have any comments or questions, or you'd like to, if you have any comments or questions or anything you'd like to say, message us down in the comment box, and I will be sure to get back to you guys as soon as possible. But until next time, you guys, blessed be.